Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Michigan Fishing. Talk today about some late winter and early spring tactics. We're probably not even going to skim the surface of all the techniques and all this other stuff you can do, but we're going to talk to you today about a couple of easy ones and the most common ones, and really the ones that will work if you do them correctly. So, one good thing to remember is that not every lake or not every body of water, river, stream, whatever you're fishing is the same. Everybody wants to go and think that in wintertime the bass are going to be deep, they're going to be all piled up, they're going to be not moving whatsoever. Well, technically that's not exactly true, because for every body of water it's different. I'll give you 3 examples real quick. The pond that we fish, probably the deepest spot is 8 feet. That's probably where the bass are going to be, but that's not extremely deep. That's still considered shallow. Now, Mona Lake up here in Michigan, it's one of those bodies of water where you can pretty much do anything. There's largemouth, there's smallmouth, and then yet again you can do basically anything. There's drop-offs, rocks, there's wood structure, there's about a little bit of everything. There's weeds, stuff like that. And if they're not on the docks, which most of the time they are, most of the time they're on the docks, but when you get one of those sunny days or one of those cooler days and they're just not on the docks, you still have other structure to fish. It's still good to fish. You still have other places you can go to fish. Now, in Hess Lake up here in Michigan, which is a little bit farther north, if they're not on the docks, you're basically screwed. There is no other place to fish. It's not a deep lake. It's extremely shallow. And a lot of it's all weeds that are not, if you're not in by where all the docks are. It's not a deep lake whatsoever. So, and there's not a lot of structure on the bottom. There's not a lot of cover besides along the bank. So if they're not on the docks and stuff, basically the only thing you can do is roll around with a Carolina rig or a shaky head or something like that where there's not weeds, or one of the creek openings. That's basically all you can do. Or maybe throw a search bait like a crankbait. But other than that, they're going to be on the docks. If they're not, you're screwed. So you have, every lake is different for every time of the year, but in wintertime it really changes because you have all these different lakes and bodies of water that are different. So just keep that in mind when you're fishing a body of water, that it's probably going to be totally the opposite, or maybe not the opposite, but totally different compared to the last place that you fish. So now let's talk about some tactics. You probably don't hear this one very often, but I do believe in it and I do think it works, and that is a drop shot. I believe this works even though it's cold waters because it stays in the strike zone so long that it gives that fish an opportunity to take in that bait. It's actually pretty effective, but normally in Michigan here we don't fish winter because it's frozen over. So that's why I don't have the experience of fishing winter tactics, but I want to let you guys know a couple of ones that I'll use if I get the chance. Like this year, the pond's barely been frozen. I still haven't fished it because I put all my stuff up early because I started deer hunting, so I wasn't planning on the winter being as easy as it is. But anyways, so another one is obviously deep cranking. That normally only works if you have a lake that the deepest spot is less than like 20 foot. Because not a lot of cranks can get past 15, 20 foot. Not saying there isn't, but a lot of them can't. So that's when the jig comes in, and then you start using your jig, slow rolled. Here's a Denny Brower Pro model, flipping and pitching jig, and I haven't done anything to this yet. I just took it out of the package. I just got it over the holidays. Still haven't even really used it yet. But see how big a profile that bait is. Well, I want to trim this skirt down to about right here for winter bass. Right about there. That also widens it up for smallies too. So I haven't trimmed this yet or anything, but I will when I use it for spring and the pre-spawn. Now we're talking before the pre-spawn. We're talking early spring tactics, 40 degrees, water. Good search bait, or good bait overall, is a jerk bait. The only problem with that is it can't get down deep. So yet again, that goes back to that body of water you fish. So not saying they can't get deep, but a lot of models can't. Like 10 foot's pretty much about your limit. And so you use that. You can use those depending on your body of water. Same thing with crankbaits. Jigs, pretty much the same thing. But all these baits are going to be moving extremely slow. It's going to be really grueling on you, or on a lot of people, because a lot of us like to move fast, and a lot of us like to go, 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 and this is really a time where you're slowing down. Worms are not going to always be the most natural presentation for this, but a Cinco, which is a worm, is going to be, because it doesn't imitate a worm. A lot of people think it does. It doesn't imitate a worm. It imitates a bait fish, a dying bait fish. That's what it imitates. So that goes back to you can use Cincos. So that's one thing you can do. There's a lot of basically all of it is deep structure. So basically these are just a couple of basic techniques you can use. So you can slow roll spinnerbait on them, real slow, real deep. It's another technique. I'm not getting really in depth on the lures, but I'm getting in depth of where you want to fish and stuff. So that's just a couple of late winter, early spring tactics for you guys. So stay tuned for more episodes of Michigan Fishing.